Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the inaugural season of the NASCAR Class C Maconi Setup Shop Fix Series, the first of many for this recently rebranded series. This evening, we're excited to be bringing you top split action for the weekly Strength of Field race from iRacing's virtual Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course here in Lexington, Ohio. Maconi Entertainment is here to bring you all the action for all types of racing, including Fast Fridays, but also tonight. No matter what we're racing, we can bring the action to life. My name's Justin Prince. Alongside me in the booth once more for tonight's action is David Kreutz, with Eddie Smith working behind the controls as a producer, using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Now, David, tonight when it comes to Mid-Ohio, a tough but fun road course. It's been visited in the past and in current action by ARCA, by Truck, by Xfinity Series competitions in the real world. Tonight, the virtual equivalent gets set for its week of action. What do we expect to see with this road course tonight?
This is the first race here in the iRacing scene. We're going to see quite a lot of action for Mid-Ohio this week for those who keep up with our eNASCAR festivities. First off, here in the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series, and also in Road to Pro on Thursday night. So these drivers getting a feel of our 2.4-mile road course here in Lexington, Ohio. The track was opened 61 years ago in 1962, and there's even an oval configuration, but tonight we're taking all the twists and turns. No oval included here on iRacing. 13 turns, elevation, high speed, low speed. This track has it all. We've got up to 8 degrees of banking in the corners too, so these drivers are going to have to work with that camber if they want to make their tires last all throughout. Seating capacity for up to 75,000 spectators here, and I'm sure all of our virtual fans here in Ohio are going to be excited as ever for a race with some of the best competitors in the eNASCAR scene. Tell you what, qualifying's on our way. We've got 11 time laps, and it's Peyton Howell top of the board.
We'll get in more touch with those drivers on the track right now. Remember, when it comes to S.O.F action, for those who have missed the first few weeks, it's iRacing's virtual the cream of the crop, as explained. That's where the top drivers compete for not only the race wins, but for division and overall titles when it comes to this series. 26 laps on the board, 2-lap qualifying, just about 8 total minutes usually in the road courses. A very tough time as well if you need a faster pair because, well, there is none once you get to a C license or higher on the oval side. Now, in turn, a very stacked field of competitors making their way to the racetrack tonight. As mentioned, Howell up at the top of the board. But there are also a lot of notable other drivers you see scattered amongst those. Amongst those registering for races, Ryan Vargas, real-world NASCAR driver, amongst those we expect to see throughout the festivities this week here with the trucks coming up.
Now, I'll tell you this much, Ryan Vargas not on the top of the qualifying board. He's got himself bested by a few guys right now, namely Peyton Howell. Peyton is the driver who finds himself up in front on the board, pole position provisionally. Then we're going to see Kim Raleigh and Jacob Schneider. The points race does continue tonight. Not a lot of the points competitors are here. A bit of a different look for a lot of these guys, but we are still going to see drivers putting it all to the test here tonight, looking to make it happen for their point hopes. Now, we've seen 16 drivers take laps going down to Cody Neal in 16th. Now it's going to be the number 7 machine on your screen tonight, who's Cody Neal, going through 1 minute and 31.546, the slowest lap at the moment. The field is spread out by just about 4 seconds through qualifying, a 127 down to a 131. Big spread. Not quite sure what that's going to mean for the race because that's a huge distance, even though these are the best of the best when it comes to the competitors here at Mid-Ohio.
One of the drivers keeping an eye on currently, Kyle Kamer, amongst those who usually runs Monday nights in series like RSR. Interestingly enough, electing to run C-Fix tonight, Kamer 7th in qualifying. Up on the board in the 5 truck. He has some decent speed, has some experience in the league scene in particular from running a lot of road courses there with usually the next-gen cars.
Well, I'll tell you this much, the next gens don't drive at all like these trucks. It's a different ballpark, 100%. Number 5 machine looking good right now to tackle it, but still a ways to go as it looks like he's already done with his 2 timed qualifying laps. Nevertheless, great to see we got drivers coming through for the C-Fix festivities, a chance to make up points and make them up big. Our points leader, Jordan Kuntz, is not here tonight, and I'm not quite sure why that's the case. Jacob Schneider, who's third on the board right now in qualifying, qualifying might be the points leader coming out tonight. Ryan Andrew chasing him on the tail as well. Both of these drivers are moving very quickly in a positive trend to maybe take the top of the board as we see qualifying has concluded. How's about we get on to our starting grid here in Mid-Ohio?
Yes, indeed. In turn, these drivers all set for top split action. It's road course action here on Maconi Entertainment. In turn, as these drivers get prepared, remember 26 laps the distance. Peyton Howell leads them to the green tonight. Kyan Rowley starts off in the second spot. Jacob Snyder, one of the top drivers of the point standing, starts in third. Ryan Andrew also in that points battle up in fourth, an important race for both of them. Ryan Vargas, one of the drivers with real-world experience in the field tonight. A driver in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, starts fifth. Zach Saunders, starting off in the top six. Kyle Kamer starts off at seventh. Josh Wheeler back in the eighth position. Vincent Loria back in ninth, with Charles Wembley in 10th. Michael Dorsey and Cody Neal inside the first dozen. Maxwell Gamble starts off alongside Nicholas Presley, among some of the final drivers with times. Dale Weiser as well as Anthony Giannone. Also in the field tonight, Joey Masevich starting at the back with Will Weiser amongst the 18 drivers towards the front. One final driver registered in Alan Capers for tonight's S.O.F race.
We've got ourselves a nice field of 19 here to get this one in Mid-Ohio. Went over all the names. We got some big ones like Ryan Vargas. We got some guys in the eNASCAR scene you might know, say Ryan Andrew, who's been hot on the heels of the points leader, running many C-Fix races this week. Then we got guys we're not quite well accustomed to. Peyton Howell, bit of a surprising front row here in paint, and of course the Kyan Raleigh machine. Both of these drivers looking to break through and break through big tonight. Nice to see a change of pace, and this could lead to some exciting racing, some unknowns with the veterans of this series. Putting that a bit lightly, of course. Now they're taking on a road course for the first time as it looks like we get on our way.
Few corners before we get underway as to make the way out of Thunder Valley. The major danger zone seen when it comes to this racetrack over the years. Lots of potential of off tracks in turn one. The keyhole sent usually for a lot of opportunities. But as we've seen, one of the best passing opportunities up to turn four. If you make a mistake today, we may see drivers up in China Beach. These drivers are all set for the finish straight. The green flag is out. It's time for S.O.F action here on Maconi Entertainment from Mid-Ohio. Clean launch for Howell and company as the Tranquility Racing Machine leads them off single file, heading up to the keyhole for the first time, and a crash to the back of the field, at least 3 trucks in the grass.
We got ourselves some trouble in the back of the field already. Taking a look on back, that's going to be Vincent Lauria taking the worst of it, and it looks like dropping from 9th on the grid. Number 20 machine on your frame finds himself off at the first corner, got loose, bobbled it, went back to the infield, took a truck or two out on the way there. The number 3 machine looked to have gotten involved, and that number 3 fading way on back. How about the contact there? We've already lost a driver, and that will be Michael Dorsey. So 2 drivers in big trouble just like that, and we see Peyton Howell's been able to leap away with a big gap over the remainder of the field right now. It's the number 52 on your frame leading the way. Then going to be Kyan Raleigh right there in second. Not too far behind is your man in second in points, and that's Jacob Schneider.
And again, Schneider amongst those with one of the higher I ratings, in fact the highest in this S.O.F race. It's not a surprise because a lot of teams have emphasized not just running on the ovals and getting that rating up, but when you say can't run on your main account on the oval sides or something along those lines because of that focused RTP, for example, guess where a lot of our drivers have looked to have fun and build their skills? On the road. Snyder holding on to third, and Snyder amongst one of those examples where if you're in, say, round 2 of RTP this season, you're in a good spot, or if you ever have to deal with a round 1 road course race again.
Now that's the big thing. These guys have to build their skills on a road course. We've seen, especially recently, talent on the road, it will pay off in dividends in the eNASCAR scene. How's about Bobby Zelensky? He's been the road course warrior in the eNASCAR Tour for years upon years, and he was not beat last time we went coke racing at the Chicago street course. Of course, a different track, different discipline in a way, street racing compared to closed circuits, but if you're good on the twists and turns, it will transfer over. Peyton Howell putting out a great start, 7/10 of a second ahead of Kean Raleigh, and then we got Raleigh backing up the rest of the field, as right now your top 5 drivers separated at the last lap interval by only 2 seconds. Rest of the field fading further and further back. They're mostly single file. Aggression has not been a must just yet. Looks like all about keeping it on the track if you want a shot to keep yourself in good position. The 52 on the top of the leaderboard right now is pulling away more and more. Simply nobody in contention for the moment. Rest of the field still trying to back it up and back it in to victory lane.
That's a critical thing to think about too when it comes to a race like this tonight. In C-Fix competition, normally you don't have to figure in a pit stop unless there's a caution. Guess what? No cautions when it comes to the road courses for full course yellow, should say, which means it's all about that driver skill you just talked about for making mistakes. Now it's the important thing in turn because of that if you want to make a pass and you push hard early, guess what? Those tires end up turning into mush if you push too hard early here.
Pushing too hard early is always very critical to avoid in a road course. That's one of those things you don't want to see, especially if you know how to manage the tire. If you're good on the late run, you can really pull back time and make yourself a winner at the end of the day, rather than pulling out early and eventually finding yourself lost in the middle of the pack. Now, the number 52 machine that leads the way certainly has a good gap right now, faster in qualifying by a sizable margin as well, so I'm sure this is not a fluke, but maybe Kean Raleigh's got something going on we're not quite aware of here. Working back, got a good group of drivers behind, say guys like Jacob Schneider, Ryan Andrew, what have you. They're all there. They're all working as hard as they can as well just to stay in touch, but they have not made any aggressive moves, and making sure aggression is avoided for now might be the ticket to going all the way to the end, contending for the victory. It still is a single file game up in front, except for right behind the main pack. I'm taking a look on back, and it looks like it's going to be a pass from Josh Wheeler, and the Newport machine taking it to new heights, up into 7th now at the start-finish line.
That's around the second grouping of cars right now. Already seeing others like Neil getting shuffled back. But the major thing, too, is you have to be smart on the passes, too, when it comes to a track like this, David, because of if you send it a little bit too early, you lose 3 seconds. Everybody misses the keyhole, meanwhile. That is not how you drive that.
And every driver taking a little bit too deep right there. Luckily, they'll be able to escape it and keep on going. No battles up front, and still is that second group that looks to be the most exciting, but even them, they have not gotten any more double file action. They're staying in formation, just making sure you can keep it intact. Maybe the goal for them is now to lay back a bit further. There might be in a bit of a similar situation and scrubbing those tires off, losing grip, and eventually that will come back to bite you. Now, Peyton Howell, clean air, clean surface, that is a major advantage in the long term. Right now, though, it simply seems like nobody else can keep up, and Kean Raleigh has a big group still behind. Last driver in this 4-car train, it's Ryan Vargas in the number 30 machine on your frame, and it looks like he's not had any luck in passing Ryan Andrew or the drivers in front.
Now, as we keep an eye on Snyder, it's worth mentioning when it comes to Vargas. It's amongst those running the rear world race this upcoming weekend, in fact. He's amongst those driving with the 30 team in the Craftsman Truck Series this season, bringing 3 new sponsors, in fact, to the racetrack for that organization, including some on the deck lid as well as the back end of the race truck. And that's been one of the major things, I'll ask your opinion on this, in terms of that, where he's been able to bring in lots of sponsorship to every team he's been with. How do you feel about that in terms of his ability to bring in sponsors, but also has been able to bring in his equipment to solid runs in the past?
The big thing about Ryan Vargas right now when it comes to NASCAR is he is really a role player for the entire organization, not just as a driver. We've seen him work in content creation, see him as a major ambassador in simulation racing, and that's one of the most crucial things we see for the big partnership we've seen with eNASCAR, the iRacing scene. It even comes back to us at Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Setup Shop. There is of course a bond. It's being built, and it takes drivers like Ryan Vargas to make something happen good for the both sides. sides in the virtual world and the real world. Ryan Vargas running a truck not too dissimilar from the ones we've seen in the real world, working with the best of the eNASCAR field, showing there's talent all around. He's running serviceably right now, and he's learning as much as these guys are. Now, guys like Ryan Andrew can afford to be on the simulator much more than Vargas because there's a job to be done at the end of the day if you're a real world stock car racer. So there's experience built in the virtual realm with Maconi Setup Shop working with the official setup partnership of eNASCAR, and that information can be taken back and you can use the feedback from drivers like Ryan Vargas, making a better software that we see here in iRacing continues to improve as we see more drivers connect to it. That's the big thing about Ryan Vargas right now. He's a major ambassador for racing in its current state, and especially a major ambassador here for iRacing. Love to see him here running C-Fix with the best of the bunch here in the strength of field race. It's been a strong run for him as he finds himself just within the top 5.
A good time to mention, by the way, that if you want to find that home of the official setup shop of eNASCAR, Maconi Setup Shop, go to MaconiSetupShop.com today. Home for setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, event promotion, and more, as well as everything else mentioned by David. Once again, they're also the official sponsor this season of this series. So right now, at the moment, Vargas trying to keep up with the pack, amongst the top 4 currently. And already you can see the intervals growing to about half the racetrack already. That's a normal trend of the circuit even after 5 laps, as drivers try and get acclimated and settled into their battle packs, as we've seen over the seasons on the road courses. Usually, if you have comparable speed, you get bundled together, just like the second and third place drivers have gotten so far, while Howell has ran away in the Tranquility truck.
And it goes to show the qualifying times can eventually lead up to big gaps here in the racing. We've got many small packs working at it time after time. It seems like we've seen these little breakaways happen. It looks like one driver getting a bit shuffled in the back. That's Joey Misevich. He's running right now in 15th as I take a look across the entirety of the field. Competition is healthy throughout the entirety of the circuit. He's working it better now. Looks like he's got it back under control. Nevertheless, he's going to go a bit dirt track in there, and thankfully able to keep himself in good standing with the trucks he's racing around. There is action all around the circuit, and he finds himself now battling with Dale Weiser. Looks like Dale's going to get the better of him that time, and it looks like he'll be able to take it now into the 14th spot. Looking throughout the field, though, single file most of these guys are. Looking up front, though, it still is a major battle outside of your leading spot. It's Keanu Raleigh holding on to second, and then we got Jacob Schneider third. Fourth, Ryan Andrew, not too far back, but losing time, it's Ryan Vargas.
Still keeping an eye as well on the battle for 7th that's been heating up as well. Kyle Kamer on board with his very peanut butter cuppy kind of truck. All over the back of the Newport machine in front. Nowhere to go. Wheeler continuing to play defense despite the fact he's nearly spun the truck twice this past lap. Just no space for Kamer to go, and every time he's gotten a run, it's been check up, check up, check up, as we kept an eye on in the last 2 sectors already.
The Newport machine was able to break away and get this past just about 3 laps ago, but it seems like the number 5's been able to reel him back in and continue to work for it once again. The 8 machine's going to now dive a little further out of the apex. We've got ourselves a tight situation. The 5's going to go right through and take the exit and right down the DRS zone. These trucks might not use DRS, but we're seeing some passing. That might be about as much passing we see in one Formula 1 race. Look at him go. We've got ourselves a pass with Kyle Kamer taking that 7th spot right back. The number 8 for Newport, not too far behind. We might see a switchback in due time.
Oh, a little bit of a slide, though. One of the major things around this track has been always over the years how little grip you have, whether it's Xfinity Series car or the trucks. The rear tires tend to go fast here. And we're seeing that even with the lead group right now, where these drivers are just about spinning loose in 2nd through 4th.
And this group up front, they might be losing a bit more grip than anyone else here. I mean, they're running as hard as they can. They've got more speed, so they're scrubbing more off. And it looks like that number 68 machine in Kean Raleigh, while having that lead, seeing the drivers right on back, losing a bit more time, maybe some more patience, and that's giving a guy like Ryan Andrew a bit more room to breathe, because Ryan Vargas suffering from the same thing, but with a bit less on the pace. Last time by, it was Ryan Andrew being a bit quicker than Vargas, 0.3 of a second worth. But I can tell you this much, they're pushing as hard as they can, the both of them. But Ryan Vargas losing more time might see Zach Saunders eventually moving into play. That's the number 66 machine right now, and that number 66 finds itself right now in 6. We've got ourselves a battle that we're looking on right now. Let's take a look at what we've got an eye on. That would be, of course, involving the second spot, and that is Kean Raleigh. Raleigh right now going to find himself in the middle of the bunch. Of course, the leader far from frame, but this is the number 68 machine that is in the second spot. Third's going to be Jacob Schneider, and Jacob Schneider coming into tonight is second in points to Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz, who won his second race of the season and then finished third in the third. Well, he's had a great start, however, has not been able to make it stick tonight, not even registered for this. So Jacob now giving himself the opportunity to build on what he's got, a big points advantage per se in the rest of the field, maybe able to leapfrog Jordan at the end of the day as he finds himself now battling for the second position.
Eventually, though, something has to give in terms of those patient levels. It's still only 17 laps to go. The major thing right now for Schneider and Andrew, no mistakes, no sliding, no spinnies, nothing along those lines. Raleigh, though, has just played this out very well compared to, say, your picture-in-picture, where you have drivers going off to China Beach and slipping and sliding about 15, 20 feet off the track.
One machine going to go way off that time by. That's exactly what you want to avoid. And it looks like one driver not going to be able to do so there. It looks like back on the way. So not all is bad, but that's going to be the Nicholas Pressey machine, I believe, going down a pit road right now. Pressey pulls it in, and now going to be the number 94 machine, scored in 17th, losing more time and much more speed. Bad to see for that 94 operation. Nicholas Pressey losing a bit more, and the rest of the field going to be able to pull away in due time. We've got ourselves another battle. Ryan Andrew, not too far back. That's going to be the fourth spot for the Maconi setup shot machine. And right with them, it's going to be, of course, Jacob Schneider. But Andrew a bit quicker that time by a 1/10 of a second's worth in terms of gaining. And now it looks like the 88 machine might have a chance to stick a nose in and maybe make a pass work 10 laps through. We've not seen a halfway mark just yet, but certainly the drivers who are in the bunches they're in know that they've got enough pace to hang around and maybe make a move on their competitors that they're running with at the moment.
Keeping an eye on that grouping. Vargas still on defensive mode, but it's Zach Saunders who's looking to try and find a way around still. It's been pressure for all the drivers. Saunders looked like he wanted to force the issue on Vargas there. Just couldn't get the inside line like he was looking for, David.
I'll tell you this much, I thought he was going to make that move, but Ryan Vargas able to just eke out that spot, a sign of respect there. He could have really lunged it in. Thankfully, for our sake, we don't see that happen, and we'll keep the racing going. Nevertheless, Ryan Vargas holds on to 5th. Right on behind, it's still going to be another green machine. Zach Saunders hanging tough right in the same spot. They are hooked to each other right now. They've been very close lap after lap, but Vargas is slightly slower. He's going to have to give in sometime sooner than later, and we've got ourselves a spin in the back of the field. What's going on?
That's in the picture-in-picture. You see that right now and how that broke out. That was around the back half of the field. In turn, going to keep it going. No contact. They keep chugging along. So far, 2 drivers in the pit lane, at least one losing laps after having to get some damage repair done or electing to come into pit, despite this being a no pit stop fuel mileage race.
Well, in a situation like that, you might want to get the new tires on, I'll say.
I mean, yeah, but you also lose 30, 40 seconds if you do it. Picture-in-picture, it's the same spin you were talking about. It's so easy to do that, though, in the heart of the track.
It's a heartbreaker. That's Vincent Laura, who's in another set of trouble. Now, this is a driver who got involved in the lap 1 incident earlier on. Now back on the way. Looks like another hit going to be in 16th. So fighting it out, but it has not been his day in that number 20 DeWalt machine. I'm watching him live right now. Still seems like there's a bit of trouble when it comes to the handling. Number 20 in trouble, nevertheless, is still fighting and keeps himself on the track there in that Toyota Tundra. So good to see still an effort being made as we see a battle for second getting a bit more heated up. Raleigh gives Jacob Schneider a shot right there. It got close, not close enough to lose the spot, but look at how close these two are in second and third. They were much closer for just a moment, but it looks like they're breaking away once again. Another shot for the Jacob Schneider machine that was not taken.
Yeah, it's been a hungry time to try and make some pouncing moves. But keep in mind, you don't want it to be like we've seen the snippet of the replay just a second ago. That was Capers, by the way, in the 15 truck. If any mistakes happen, you have the potential of major trouble. And at a track like this, with how slippery these cars have been, you cannot afford to have that happen, it seems, with everyone bunched so close in a grouping like this, where it can lead to your front nose being completely seared off.
That's a big thing about Mid-Ohio. This track, it will take you for a wild ride. The flow of this circuit, very unnatural for these drivers. I mean, there are very simple road courses in the NASCAR world, say Watkins Glen. You know it about like the back of your hand if you raced enough, but Mid-Ohio is a newer force to be reckoned with here in the NASCAR world. And these drivers in the eNASCAR scene are none the wiser compared to those in the real world. They're all learning at the same time, and it's been troublesome for those who just can't find the grip just yet. We've seen the back of the field in a bit of trouble. The front guys have been able to keep it going without much of an issue. I mean, your top 5, 6, 7 guys still within just about 15 seconds of your leader, but from there on out, we've got big trouble. I mean, Vincent Laria, last man on that lead lap, is 1 minute and 22 seconds down on Peyton Howell. That's a huge amount of time, but still goes to show how much you can afford to lose and still find yourself with a lead lap finish and even the top 10. The man in the 10th spot right now, that's Cody Neal, driven 2 spots up today from 12th to 10th, is 1 minute, or rather 1 minute and 30 seconds on the lap time, but 22 seconds off to the leader. Big gaps are being found here in Mid-Ohio.
Remember, Neal had some struggles he talked about a little bit in qualifying for a bit. Still up that +2 behind that grouping that had some of those spins earlier on in the race. So just at the cross flags, now 13 to go up on the board. And as we make our way past the halfway point, I'd like to take time to mention that there's a chance for drivers to keep an eye on battles such as this one. Because right now, it's Ryan Andrew keeping an eye on his Maconi setup shop truck to slide up the inside of the keyhole and finally make a move for third.
And Ryan Andrew barely gets it that time by. How about that move? And as we look on back, it's only going to be this battle for the moment. Andrew gets it in and finds himself now in the podium places. Not too far back, Jacob Schneider is going to be in that touching distance. And for the man who wants to lead the points race, this is the points battle. These two drivers came into the night second and third in the championship standings. Any move between these two machines, well, it's going to be very, very major when it comes to the implications in your championship race. No Jordan Kuntz is no problem for these two. They are going to settle it amongst themselves if there's going to be any chance for a new driver to come out the points leader at the end of tonight's festivities. It's going to be the number 1 machine who loses that battle. Ryan Andrew has himself in the 3rd spot as we've got just under 13 laps to go. Peyton Howell going to make it a dozen this time by as he makes it down to the start-finish line to start lap 15.
Been a very tranquil time up at the point for Howell and company. And as we make our way past the halfway point, Maconi Setup Shop is offering a chance to be at the track. A day at the track, in fact. Possible in turn by Maconi Setup Shop by eNASCAR and New Hampshire Motor Speedway. The winner will receive $250 cash, 2 tickets to all the events at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, 15th and 16th this month, and a special prize from eNASCAR at the facility. All purchases made through Maconi Setup Shop grant an entry into the contest. 5 entries are given for every new subscription, 3 if you upgrade an existing subscription, and 1 entry for individual purchases. Visit MaconiSetupShop.com/atthetrack for more details. So far at the track of Mid-Ohio, Howell continues to dictate the tempo and grow that gap. And Howell, amongst those who look to compete at a high level in NASCAR, not a surprise. If you already have your setup dialed in, it's not a surprise that you're on the fixed side of things, getting your driving mechanics down.
And of course, that's the way these guys up at the front of the eNASCAR world try to go about it. I'm looking in the back of the field, though, as we see a fierce battle. It was between Maxwell Gamble and the Will Weiser machine. Now it looks like Gamble's in a bit of a Weiser sandwich. Will Weiser ahead and Dale Weiser right behind. So the man in the 9th slot on the iRatings charts tonight, it's going to be Maxwell Gamble finding himself in multiple battles at once. The number 10 trying to chase him at the same time, so we could see another position be swapped through. 9 Machines finding himself in the middle of the Weiser sandwich. Dale now getting closer and closer, and that time by was definitely quicker. Maxwell Gamble ran a 133.896 last lap, and for Dale Weiser, he ran a 132.289, much quicker, and it looks like he's been consistently quicker. It looks like his family member in some sort got by him last time through, Will Weiser. Now it could be Dale who completes it and makes it a Weiser double, getting right by Maxwell Gamble.
Still losing a bit of ground coming out of the final corner, though. That's been the difficult part, keeping momentum up. Lower screen, meanwhile, that's the 2 truck. Keeping an eye in the picture-in-picture. Also see the difficulty just to be able to stay in a line with how difficult the grip has been to build up the runs before you make your way up the inside if you open the door, like in that situation there. Speaking of doors opening, here comes the run. Up the track goes the 9, the 10 to the right side.
And how about that? Maxwell Gamble going to find himself on the offense. It's going to be Dale Weiser who gets the advantage and coming through. The number 10 gets it and now wants to get involved in another battle, but not too fast. The 9 dives right back to the inside line. We've got ourselves a side-by-side battle, stacking it up. One goes high, one goes low. Let's see if the 9's got momentum. He'll have to pull it through and try to stay in the battle. Loses it that time by. He'll have to reset and go for it next time around if he wants any opportunity to make it stick and maybe make that position back. Looks like Dale Weiser's got it for good, at least for the moment. Looking up front, though, looks like Will Weiser up in no man's land, chasing lap machines and getting by him. Will Weiser got by big. Maxwell Gamble looks to be the big loser in the equation here. Dale Weiser gets through as well. Looking up front, it looks like now Jacob Schneider has fallen back big on Ryan Andrew and Keenan Raleigh. The big group that we saw before has been much more spread out as of recent, and it looks like Peyton Howell has even less reason to be concerned. Ryan Andrews in 3rd, Schneider's in 4th, and the gaps are growing even in your top 5.
10 laps to go here from Mid-Ohio. More chances for opportunities slowly being built and slowly being paced in. Wheeler amongst those, still trying to pace his way forward here. And this is the part where you start considering, okay, do I break even at least on the iRating front? Or you check the fun meter. Is my fun meter doing well? Well, if it's not doing well, you better find a way to get fun or have fun run this track. If you're in the top 9, I think you're having a lot of fun right now. If you're Cody Neal, you're having tons of fun trying to make passes here with how he's been doing to close up this gap.
I tell you this much, Cody Neal has made up so much time since the last time we checked on him. He finds himself in 10th, but look at the frame he's in right now. The man in the 7th spot, and Kyle Kammer is right there in the mix. Now it's going to be a 4-car bunch in the middle of this pack, and it looks like smack in the middle of it all. Cody Neal might be able to make up a few spots. I mean, he's been gaining so much time. A spot or two might just be a given. Now, on the back bumper of Josh Wheeler, he'll take it down to the inside line, line up the shot. He's going to be able to send it in a little deep, has that rumble strip, and he'll take it to the apex and not quite make the pass. Surprisingly, isn't able to make it stick immediately. He'll have to set it up down the DRS zone all over again. 7 Machines got a bit of an edge this time, though, as they come through inside line, power down. The 7's got a shot. Let's the 8 go, surprisingly, and this might be a multi-step pass as they wiggle again. Almost make contact. My, oh my. It looks like Cody Neal's all out of sort.
They are making contact, tons of contact, in fact, coming out of China Beach in that section. All coming through Sector 3 now. Playing hard defense, still trying to hold on to the wheels. Wheeler, another shove. This is not looking pretty with how much contact they're getting. 4X's abound.
I think these drivers are both upset with one another. They've cost each other time already. Josh Wheeler wants to keep that spot. Cody Neal wants to be done with the man right in front of him. He knows he's got pace, but he does not know if he's going to be able to get across this number 8 machine. It just looks like Josh Wheeler has held him back and maybe has gotten him a bit too upset. We might see a bit more pushing and shoving if the 7's got another chance to go at it this time by. They'll come back down to the start-finish line and reset the equation all over again. Let's see if there's a solution found that isn't a dump and run. The 8 gets through first, of course, the 7 not too far behind, and they'll come through all over again, and it's going to be a big wheeler for the 8 machine. The Newport truck's all over the place, and he's going to go right down the inside and make it a bit daring. Now Cody Neal's got himself a shot to set up the pass all over again.
Preferred line taken by Neal this time. Neal wrapping the inside of the keyhole, able to make the pass complete. And that wasn't easy. You do not want to make door-to-door contact here. You do not want to make door-to-door contact at a road course. 99 times out of 100, it might be a race ender. Ryan Andrew, we'll see how he tries to handle things. He's still yet to get around Raleigh in that eNASCAR College Series inspired truck in front.
And while it is the Ryan Andrew machine, a bit quicker than Kean Raleigh right now, as Cody Neal is the man we were focusing on before, it looks like Andrew just cannot put it together consistently to be quick enough to make a pass. He is faster time after time, lap after lap, but nevertheless, that number 88 machine simply has a bit more speed, not a bit too much. It's going to be a minor advantage, but not enough unless the Kean Raleigh machine makes a mistake, and that number 68 machine has not slipped up just yet. As they come down and in again, they're getting closer to the DRS zone we saw before, but it looks like that number 88 just not able to make it happen. They'll go down the inside on the apex of the corner altogether and out the keyhole all over again. The 68's got himself an edge, and Ryan Andrew just has to play on his word. Keep that number 68 in mind and maybe try to take advantage.
Especially with 7 to go, he is still within the range to force the mistake. Nearly to the bumper this time. It's the closest he's been through China Beach. No chance to be able to send it quite yet. It seems as most likely they're dead even almost on the pace. It's just been that tricky, and that's the difference in turn with the fixed setup. It's all driver skill, and when you have evenly matched drivers like this, it's hard to get a pass done, as we've seen.
It's almost a chess match here on 4 wheels each, and this man in the number 68 has held him at bay. Ryan Andrew right on that back bumper, and while Kean Raleigh might have had an edge before, Andrew's been quick and quicker. If he gets in that second spot, he'll be good to make up so much point on terms of the point gap he's got to Jordan Kuntz, and this could be fantastic for a chance to lead the point standing coming out of this one in Mid-Ohio. And to tell you this much, we've got our eyes on a wreck right now, so let's take a look on back where we're being informed that Cody Neal's in a bit of trouble here in Maconi Entertainment. So let's rewind it and take a look at what we've seen here as it looks like coming through lap 20, the man in the number 7 machine's in trouble.
Just way off the racetrack there. That was through the carousel. And you have to stick the inside groove as we've seen all day, or else you end up just getting out of that out of camber section. After all, that's one of the few areas where banking is around the racetrack. Speaking of drivers looking to bank in a run to the corner, Andrew continuing to just wait. It almost feels like, in the case of Andrew, he's waiting until it's too late for Raleigh to respond back. What do you think?
That might be the case. I mean, with so little time, you might have to go for that. I mean, Kean Raleigh is now on the defense. That's for certain. It's not even a question at this point that Ryan Andrews got his number and then some. I mean, they're back-to-back, bumper to bumper. They're connected. But Ryan Andrew, he knows that if you play it a bit too early, you will get wrecked. The first race in this series' existence, it was the 8:15 section. Of course, the first top split on that time slot. It was Eldora. It was Ryan Andrew racing for the win. He got tapped. He got destroyed last lap. Ryan Doucette came through and won that race, was able to take it and take it big. If you don't make that move at the last second, you're in jeopardy of Revenge City as a number 88 machine pulls down the inside, does not have momentum. He'll fake it, maybe try to make it next time around. He might be signaling that move might be made sometime soon. And take a look right in front of them. They've got lap machines coming their way. Alan Capers, the number 15, right now scored in 15th, is just ahead. So is Joey Masevich, my apologies there. It's lap machines getting closer to the frame of your leaders, and Peyton Howell, while already dealing with one, sees his adversaries behind. They will have to deal with it very soon. Kean Raleigh will lead them into the crossfire, the lap machines, at least before the race is over.
Still a few minutes to work with before the checker flags fly. Raleigh nearly flies the truck into the grass. Able to hold on to it as they get ready for Thunder Alley. Andrew again, another chance, no space to be able to take advantage. If anything, Andrew has lost time checking up as a result to Raleigh's machine. The go button has to be here at this point. At this point, Raleigh's tires look like they are gone for the rear end. Another bubble.
And he's still able to make it stick for that pass. I mean, no pass at least. I mean, he's kept himself in second. Very solid all throughout that number 14 machine. The iRating charts, he's been a big surprise, Kean Raleigh's been second on the grid, second in the race so far. And this is his first time we've seen him in the strength of field race here at Maconi Entertainment. But he is showing that he's a veteran at these road courses, running very well under pressure. But Ryan Andrew seems to have a bit of an advantage when it comes to holding that tire down. He might have less wear on it, less heat, less fatigue, and that will come back to be a major benefit as the race goes on, and it's gone on to the very final stretch. 23 out of 26, and that leaves us with only 4 laps remaining, 4 to go, and Ryan Andrew knows in that number 4 iRating machine that he's got to go sometime soon. He'll wiggle down the inside line and try to make the pass this time. They're going to be side by side, and it's going to be the Ryan Andrew machine with that inside and that apex. Kean Raleigh turns down, turns in, does not let him have it again. It's going to be a switch over, and the 68th got himself the pass again, inside, outside, and Ryan Andrew gets the nose cut off. That's as close as he's been all race long.
Was that card shown a little early? Is there going to be another chance to show that card? Another slide again for Raleigh all over the back end again. Coming up to 3 laps to go. Still more lap traffic to deal with. That is Capers you talked about. That has to be a major factor here. If they reach Capers in the corner, it could be trouble. Here's the picture-in-picture. They might reach him by turn 1 before the keyhole even.
And Alan Capers right in front of this one. What's he going to do? It looks like he'll pull away just like that. Great to see for your leaders to get right by. No trouble, no hesitation. And now the battle is back on without any problem. How about it? It's going to be number 14 machine of Kean Raleigh in terms of iRating, who's been putting on a big show, but no clinic. Ryan Andrews right on that back bumper, and he'll try to take it a bit higher this time by. Now he'll try to corner it a bit different. Maybe it'll stick. That's a bit of a different move, but it doesn't look like it's going to do anything short term. He'll run it down, though. The 88's got momentum. He'll run it to the high side of the circuit, and he's going to put the power down full on. He's wiggling big, but he's got himself a corner side by side. Same position Raleigh was in last time. You just got to stay in it, and he does. Inside, he's got it, and the big contact. Netco, no, Ryan Andrew takes a spot, and now he's up in the second.
Raleigh's not going to be happy with that, and there's the bump back from Raleigh. Andrew holds on, no major contact for Raleigh. In turn, Andrew looking to run away. It wasn't pretty, but Andrew takes the spot. Can Raleigh respond is the huge question coming to 2 laps to go, and lots of clean space to work forward.
And just like that, it's going to be Ryan Andrew taking the spot, and with a vengeance, Kean Raleigh losing a bit more time as we see the rest of the field is laying back, and they're still calm as ever. That's exactly what you need to do for Ryan Andrew. Just take it when you can. He did exactly what Kean Raleigh did, as opposed to going for the same maneuver he tried the lap before, trying what the man right in front did, and it worked out pretty well. Learning from the best, quite literally, and while Kean Raleigh tried to take a shot back at him, it just didn't work out, and just like that, Andrews got himself the runner-up spot as they are going to come down with only 2 laps to go, and Peyton Howell has a decisive margin up in front, 7 seconds worth, as we are going to come around 1.5 laps worth for your leader. Rest of the field still battling. It ain't over, namely with Ryan Vargas and Zach Saunders. Saunders is back on the back bumper again, and now it looks like he's trying the same thing Ryan Andrew did with a different arc through the corner, and they're going to go for it down the DRS zone.
At the end of the racetrack, compared to your race leader, by the way, as we get ready to take the white flag upcoming time by, Howell's just been consistent from the onset. All night long, C-fixed action of the road course, Howell's been very comfortable with this feel of this machine. Only about a minute and 30 seconds to work with once we take the white flag. Peyton Howell looking to close out S.O.F action with one more clean circuit. It's been a domination station. Only one more circuit to go for Peyton Howell to pick up an S.O.F victory today in C-fixed action. White flag is out. Final time around, presented by Maconi Entertainment.
Final lap for your leading man. Rest of the field is still chasing. We're going to have to keep an eye on all these battles going on throughout the remainder of the field. Certainly, they're not done yet. Ryan Andrew going to lead Kean Raleigh down to the line all over again. Kean Raleigh, knowing he's been at second most of this race, he does not want to end it outside of that second spot. He's going to try to keep in touching distance and looking on back as well. Vargas and Zach Saunders are as close as they can get. Last time by the start-finish line, separated by only 0.4 of a second. That's how close they are here. Vargas has been in a very tricky situation to work out. He is only 0.4 ahead of this number 66. They've been together all throughout the race, and they are as close as they can be once more. Keep an eye out on this battle as well. As they come through, it could be another like Andrew and Raleigh were just the first time around. Ryan Andrew has a good gap on Kean Raleigh, and Peyton Howell getting ready to lead us down to the start-finish line here and conclude this one. Domination for this man once again.
Fifth spot holds on for the time being for Vargas and company, but you mentioned how Howell's been running all night long. One final section for Peyton Howell. From the onset, Howell dictated the tempo, set the pole time, ran away from the pack, and in turn, Peyton Howell makes it look easy. The checker flag waves. Mid-Ohio is conquered by Peyton Howell.
Peyton Howell is going to be able to get this one done. Phenomenal start to finish effort. Ryan Andrew makes it home with the second spot, and Kean Raleigh, hard-fought battle on debut, will take it down to the start-finish line. Final spot on the podium. Ryan Vargas bobbles. He'll keep his spot in his battle, and the rest of the field finishes this one up. A fantastic race here in Mid-Ohio. And just like that, we got ourselves a winner in Peyton Howell for the first time this season. Mid-Ohio dominated, and to open up the road courses here in the Maconi Setup Shop C-Fix Series, it's a 26-lap start-to-finish effort from the pole. Big win for the number 52. Peyton Howell is a C-Fix race winner.
3 truck in terms of I-rating on the roadside, picking up the W. One driver looking to close it out. The last driver on the lead lap, by the way, was Joey Masevich. That is the only main driver we're waiting for who was trying to hold on to the lead lap. He will be the final driver to cross the stripe. Shout out to Joey Masevich. He didn't qualify, had to start towards the very back, picked up a few spots with some of the drivers with DNFs, and didn't lose a lap. Give him some credit for somebody usually more so known for how he drives on the 1.5 miles, more so than he does on the road courses. This should solidify the official session results right now with Masevich, your final finisher.
And Joey Masevich gonna finish this one off. How about it? 14 drivers in the lead lap, and it looks like a total of 17 drivers finished this race. It's going to be the 64, the last of which, and the number 3, burning it down as we speak. How's about we take a look at your winning driver again?
Why don't we look towards an ad break in turn as Howell tries to burn it around the entire racetrack. Will he make it? We'll find out after this.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need, Maconi.
With the launch of Maconi Entertainment and Maconi Competizone alongside Maconi Setup Shop, we now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, broadcasting, and event organization.
With cars across all 4 license classes, we have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions.
And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage on Maconi Entertainment, where Peyton Howell picks up the victory in S.O.F action. 4C Fix brought to you by Maconi Setup Shop tonight from the pole. Peyton Howell putting on a show. Let's take a look in turn of your results. Again, in terms of official action, these session times are official in turn. You see the pylon on the left side of your screen where Howell picked up the top spot. The overall interval, 8.9 seconds over Ryan Andrew. It took a while to get around Kian Raleigh, but in the end, he picks up second spot. Jacob Snyder at one point as high as second, but got passed by Ryan Andrew. In the midst of some of the battles, Brian Vargas holding off Zach Saunders in the top 5. Then it's Charles Wembley in 7th, Kamer, Wheeler, and Neal, your top 10, 42 seconds, that difference, 1st to 10th. The Weisers, Will and Dale, finish 11th and 12th, respectively, both from their home state. Then it's Maxwell Gamble in 13th, Joey Misavage, the last of the lead lap, in 14th, Capers, Loria, and Presley, all finishing on 1 lap down. Cycles. 2 DNFs tonight, Anthony Giannoni, along with Michael Dorsey, involved in an earlier instance. Dorsey didn't even make it through the first lap after the first lap crash to the inside of turn 1. That's a look top to bottom at your 1 euro for tonight's action. And as we wait to see which drivers take the opportunity to speak with us and give their thoughts on the action, I'll get your thoughts so far in terms of what we've seen tonight, David. Entertaining, to say the least, for some of the mid-pack, but it was definitely, in my opinion, a true test of, are you good on throttle control and also the ebbs and flows of the evolution and elevation changes tonight?
It was a fantastic drive for the drivers who knew how to manage the circuit. Now, I'll tell you this much, Ryan Andrew waiting on us right now, but before we get to him, I'll tell you this much, he's got himself another good run for the points. Peyton Howell, while not being part of that points run, showed them all how to drive here in Mid-Ohio. The number 52 on my end here on the screen, he was on it all throughout the night, able to lead every single lap. He was out in his own game, winning by just about 9 seconds. His big thing must have been managing those tires. The trucks, they've been reconfigured on iRacing. They drive different. They feel different. Their physics are much different than before. And it looks like as we see a new landscape come up just before Road to Pro and the bigger races in Mid-Ohio is running on iRacing, these drivers are managing it differently. And we've actually got our winning man in Peyton Howell in the waiting room, so I'll get him in here right now. Peyton Howell, a dominating finish here, and it looks like we'll actually try to get Ryan Andrew just before. And for the man who comes home in the second spot tonight, it's Ryan Andrew coming here in second at Mid-Ohio. Hard-fought battle, able to make it happen in the second spot after the end of 26 laps in Lexington. How do you feel after your run here tonight?
Oh, I feel great about that. We were having such a fun battle there for second the whole race, and it was just very fun to drive. I love the road courses. Looking forward to Watkins going in. I think there might be another one on there. I can't remember.
It definitely seemed to be an intriguing fight amongst you when it came down to you and Raleigh. How difficult was it, first of all, to be able to set up that pass, and second, how do you feel about the circumstances in turn? There was a little air, so to speak, between you when you did touch.
Yeah, it was all good. He congratulated me on the pass and everything, but It's just very hard to pass because you're fighting grip every corner and very hard to put together a few corners to get close enough to make the move.
But tonight was also a critical one when it comes to being able to battle it out for the championship in the early going. As David mentioned, you ran a ton of races to build up your point tally from last week's round. What's the focal point, in your opinion, to win a CFIX championship since, well, usually a lot of the competitors in CFIX, some you may see run up to 20 times a week?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not going to run 20 times a week, but usually I only run one race, and that's the Monday night race. But if I do bad like I did at Chicagoland, I'll run a couple more, try and see if I can get some more points from those ones.
Any shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you get prepared for a busy week here at the road course?
I want to thank the Maconi Setup Shop for sponsoring the series and putting on this fun broadcast, and Tango Paints for making my paint scheme.
Fine, Andrew coming away with one of the top spots tonight. As mentioned, Peyton Howell picking up a victory. I believe he is amongst those standing on by. Peyton, a very tranquil-filled run, pulling away by 8+ seconds. How'd the truck feel for the fixed setup this week?
That was probably the best road course fix set I've driven. That was actually a ton of fun. When I got into the practice, I didn't know how I would think because the Mid-Ohio set last year wasn't that good, but this actually, you can actually drive this thing and not worry about spinning out every corner like last year.
Indeed, but it also takes a very special skill set, a very collaborative but also patient skill set. How would you describe that skill set to drive at Mid-Ohio State compared to some of the other road courses seen on the truck schedule this year?
I would say that here you just don't want to slide. You don't want to slide your tires because once you slide them one time, you're probably done for the rest of the race. And I slid them a couple times, but I just cooled them down. I ran a little bit slower, a couple laps just to cool them down, then charged back on it. But I would say that the truck's stable enough that you don't really have to worry about it if you just don't punch a gas too hard.
Indeed. And of course, balancing this with a busy schedule in terms of the NASCAR side with the Road to Pro qualifying series, its second round starting up. In fact, what's that coordination been like for the open side with RTP competition coming up?
Well, looking at this and then going into that, I am way off in open. I don't know what I'm doing wrong in open, but it's gonna be a lot different of a race in Road to Pro than it is gonna be for this, and I'm just hoping to top 10 Road to Pro.
Well, congrats, Peyton, on the victory tonight. You pick up the S.O.F victory for CFIX this week.
Yep, thank you.
Peyton Howell coming away with the W today. And in turn, an entertaining one, David. Your final thoughts as we get ready for what's going to be a busy week for many official drivers, but also a busy time for those looking towards the next week pretty soon.
Next week, of course, we got ourselves a big battle in this championship standing in. After a road course, many things have changed. We see guys like Ryan Andrew moving up the ladder here, drivers coming in for their first time here in the CFIX world, and they put on one hell of a show. Now, thing is, Mid-Ohio, one of those courses we don't see all too often. As we look at the schedule right now, certainly we won't see it in at least next season's time. Now, we've seen ourselves a dirt track, an oval, a mile and a half traditional, and then, of course, most recently, we had the road course here at Mid-Ohio. It has been a very diverse schedule, and guys like Andrew who are running consistently, showing that you have to be very versatile. So the thing about this series in its entirety, versatility, it will be what you need if you want to come out on top in the entirety of the championship. But also, in addition, where we're going next week, it's going to be New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile coming back. So we'll be back on next, well, of course, it's going to be next Monday for us. When we come back with the strength of field, I'm certain your oval regulars will want to take their stab at a victory as well.
Yes, indeed. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. We'd like to thank our sponsor once more, Maconi Setup Shop, as well as our broadcast partner, Maconi Competition. Calling the action tonight was myself, Justin Prince, alongside David Kreitz in the booth with Eddie Smith producing. I'd like to thank all the viewers for watching tonight's racing action and hope you stay tuned to to our social media pages for our next race. Thanks to the entire staff for their hard work in bringing this racing to you tonight. This has been a production of Maconi Entertainment. We'll see you next time.